So typically, this is a post-lunch time for all, right? Okay, fine. Good afternoon, everyone, sirs and madams. So this is Satyaprata Mohanty. I'm founder of a company called SmartX. So maybe another 15-20 minutes, I'll just tell about my story or how do I arrive at wherever I've arrived. And then we will probably interact and we'll make it more kind of, interactive session. So typically, when I meet, I don't know the background of the audience.
They're
I'm
faculty.
assuming,
Most of them are
yes,
faculty.
yeah, I'm assuming all of them are from research and academic background, engineering research, science research, and all. So for a very brief period of time, when I finished my MSc in 2009. I taught for 2 years in a private engineering college. It's a good, well-established engineering college, so I could gather some knowledge. Rather teaching, I could learn a lot before I started my
సార్ వస్తారా పోయిరా పోండి
MTech.
అయింది
Sir, hello.
పోయిన తర్వాత
Someone
ఇటు రండి.
please mute the audience.
Yeah. So then I did my MTech and then I joined a startup. So what I learned in startup is really exciting because in any startup, what happens, you have to do everything almost. There is very less scope to get away. There are more scope to work actually. So anything you want to learn, startup is a good place to learn.
రైట్ ఏం లేదు ఒకటి వర్క్షాప్ కండక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము దాని మీద ప్లాన్ చేస్తున్నాం ఫండింగ్ సెర్బుయే ఐడియా ఉందా సెర్బు మీకు సైన్స్ అండ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ రీసెర్చ్ బోర్డు దానికి అప్లై చేస్తున్నాము ఇవి కొన్ని థీమ్స్ ఇచ్చాడు ఆడే ఈ థీమ్స్లో మీకు ఏమన్నా అకాడమిక్స్లో ఐడియా ఉన్నవాళ్ళు లేదా టెక్నికల్గా ఎవరన్నా ఉన్నవాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా మీరేమైనా సజెస్ట్ చేయగలరా?
Hello, Dr. Ramesh Naik.
రీసెర్చ్ మీద. హలో
Dr. Ramesh Naik, please mute your mic.
సార్ ఎస్ సార్ సారీ సార్.
Yeah, so then I started my own this company called SmartX. So typically we are a hardware development company. We design and develop microcontroller based hardware and mainly targeted towards wireless communication, be it Bluetooth, be it Wi-Fi, or be it even cellular 3G, 4G systems. So we started with a very different purpose. Our intention was to actually develop this ECG, and we collaborated with Satya Sai University, and then from there actually the journey started. So I'll mainly focus on the power of academic research or power of engineering research in the institutions itself, because a lot of things are already available in your labs, be it a spectrum analyzer or be it a network analyzer or be it a simple oscilloscope also, or any setup to test things, test and measurement equipments, be it mechanical or chemical or electronics, right? Or even biolabs. So most of the things are already there in the ambience or in the environment which you are teaching to your students on daily life and regularly. So all that you need to do is, or we should do is, that's what I have been doing, is to collaborate together, who can take the idea and build a basic prototype, basic working prototype, or what we call as a proof of concept by means of some instrument or means of some software or hardware. It could be software or hardware, so that the idea is proven apart from the basic instrument whichever are there on the tabletop. So with that intention, we started as a MTech project, and then it culminated into a product. Ultimately, we got into a product development activity. Then we got into clinical trials. We did some clinical trials. And now at this point of time, we are looking for another rounds of fund or another business opportunity to take this to market. So the point which I'm trying to drive at is, what academic institution was supposed to support, they could support. That is a great thing. And then what next level will be happening, or what the typical financial world has to come in or business has to come in, that is yet to come in, at least in my case. And then the collaboration with doctors, the collaboration with medicine practitioners or clinical experts, that is also more importantly will helping us or any developer if we are getting into kind of medical devices. Suppose we are going into automobile devices. Say for example, your area now has a auto industry, Kia Motors. So around one industry, multiple other industries will be, ancillary industries will be built up, small lathe machines, small mechanical enclosure design or CNC machining. Those kind of setups also will be growing, right? So the collaboration with any institution always helps. Even in your, suppose we are developing an automobile product, even driver can be giving a lot of feedback. So when we talk about ecosystem, everybody can give feedback, and as a product developer or as a product designer, we need to take all the inputs. So this is what I would talk about the initial period of time. Then I'll little change the gear now. I'll move towards the funding schemes. I'm pretty sure you all know about the funding schemes, but I would like to tell how we can tap into them or how we can interact with them and interact with the central funding agencies through nodal agencies. And there are a lot of nodal agencies are there. Say for example, Atal Incubation Center could be a nodal agency for some central funding. Say BIRAC has a DBT, the Department of Biotechnology, has nodal centers like KIIT or IKP, even in your IIT Madras incubation centers. So the best approach is always to, for an entrepreneur or for a professor who is teaching and who wants to build a product or who wants to build something apart from his academic research, will be write a grant proposal, and that proposal has to be submitted to nodal agencies, and he or she should able to visualize what is being developed. If the visualization comes into picture, then through the grant project grant report or the proposal report, I would rather say, you can actually approach nearest incubation centers and get pre-incubated first, because first thing we should get pre-incubated, and we should know what incubation center can bring it to us. An incubation center, first thing, it will give you an ambience what your lab will not actually give. An incubation center will give you few more founders, few more idea generator people, few more products, successful people. You will be interacting with them, you will be learning from them. And that is what I also did, being part of IITM Research Center. They have a healthcare technology innovation center, or even currently I'm in University of Madras Technology Business Incubator. So every incubation center more or less are somewhere linked with some central funded agency, be it DSIR. DSIR can do, there is a funding called PRISM, PRISM, and those are available in internet. You can study. Just I'll be briefing about how to propose them, how to really do the first job first. The first job is to write a grant, and through various presentations, and very recently I have got a grant from central government. The scheme is called Nidhi Prayas, and again this is through IIIT. So there are 4 layers of interviews are there. They will ask you some questions, they will ask you some questions orally or over emails, and then ultimately you need to present in front of an expert committee. And finally I have got it. I have also applied for BIRAC. I have crossed all the levels up to last level, and because I didn't have a prototype, I could not get the grant, which is BIG grant, Biotechnology Ignition grant, which is of 50 lakhs. And what they suggested is, you put your own money, you develop a prototype, because it is a cancer device. It's a very sensitive device, and very advanced research wise, also very advanced technology is being used. So you do a basic device, then you come back, we should able to take. So my experience with them is very clearly, yes, they are approving our idea, they're accepting that this product is feasible, they're taking it up to 4th round, which is your last round basically. And in 4th round, the rejection tells that we are just little away from success. If 6 more months or 8 more months we work together, we might be getting something. So the interaction with professors comes into picture, because as a company, we have a very small company, very small setup. We are not, how do I say, we are not well equipped with every labs. That is where comes the, that is where system comes, where we interact with various professors. Say, I'll give you an example. Just before lockdown, I was working on a radio product on a particular frequency and a particular modulation scheme. And this modulation scheme and this frequency, I cannot test it. I could not test it in my lab because I don't have a spectrum analyzer. So what I did, I had to write an email to Anna University professor, and then they allowed. They have a very good, RF analysis lab, which is pretty much 1 crore, and they have spent 1 crore recently to build. And fortunately, I was the first one to use that lab, even before their research students started using. So they allowed us, and through those kind of collaborations happens very much faster if you directly go and meet the professor. You present your idea immediately over a meeting. It happens. It doesn't need time. The personal meetings over a tea or over directly meeting them in their chambers, it will happen. It doesn't need any MOU to be signed. It doesn't need any kind of non-disclosure agreement to be signed, because they understand the startup need, and then they appreciate also because a small startup comes and interacts. So the same thing happened after getting their result. I was not happy with the result. Then I wanted to see whether the new setup in Anna University is working fine or not. Then I requested another professor from Madras University IIT Madras Electrical Engineering, and I got it tested another time, just to verify that what hardware work we have done is completely compatible and reliable or not. And we found the result good coming. So we just I'm telling this incident to ensure that the collaboration can help you either way, either to validate something or to verify something or to start testing with something also. The more the collaboration we have, more benefit we get while design or development of the product. Even professors are very well experienced to tell what will work and what will not work. As an innovator, I might think 100 things. As an innovator, I might think like, okay, I'll develop a device which will be very miniature, many wearable. Then when we interact with them, they will come back and say, yes, it is fine, but how long it will sustain the charge? What is the battery system you are going to think? So they will give you a thought process. So which is what I would request, because all the audience that now we have are from teaching background. Then I would request all of you to look for such kind of questions. Either your students are asking, or your either your old students, your alumni are asking, or you yourself can ask to your colleagues and create a group together. So I'll give an example. If an electrical engineering department or ECE professor can combine with a mechanical professor, I'm pretty sure 60 to 70% of any product can be designed. And if you are again collaborating with the biotechnology or biology professor, then a bio-related device, or typically what do you say, medical device or healthcare electronics product also can be designed, because basically the science remains same. Science fundamentally remains to physics, chemistry, and mathematics and biology. So ultimately, once you bring the engineering into picture, it remains like what instrument will be building, what sensing system will be building, or what controller system will be building. And as far as the hardware building is concerned, we are way ahead now. We are really way ahead. The Arduino system is very much advanced. You can just spend 5,000 rupees or even 2,000 rupees and build a small system with Arduino, or 5,000 rupees you can build a small system with Raspberry Pi. Those are the things are already available. When we were studying, we used to fight in the lab for 8051 microcontroller. But today 8051 microcontroller is available at 350 rupees. One development board is available. And those are the things people can try, because any engineering student or any BTech student is spending 4 to 8 lakhs in 4 years, depending on which college he studies in India, right? So they can spend another 10,000 rupees to build something on their own. And that is where you professors can really help them in building that out. And when a thing is built, either a paper can be published. Just to give you an example, from out of our ACG, we have got 6 different papers, and all are IEEE papers. One among them has actually international conference. It has got a European conference best paper award, and we have also filed a patent. and we are also trying to file another patent if our algorithm can be modified and do something. This is, I'm talking purely even doing business. I'm talking purely during the development activity itself, we have done so much work. So it all possible because of the collaboration. So I would stress, you write proposals, you collaborate with each other, and this ecosystem is helping us. The hardware systems are really going up, but today we don't have any earlier time we used to feel how to design a hardware, how to design a product, how to design, but today everything is available in the open source format. Be it electric vehicle, or be it automobile section, vehicle tracking system, or be it healthcare device or something. So I would request again to collaborate, and I'll now request you people to ask specific questions if at all anything you have, so that we make the system, we make the session more interactive. Or anything that I missed that you would like to know about me in person, or me as a founder, my struggle, or anything, I would able to happily share with you.
I have a lot of questions to
Sure,
shoot at
sure.
you, but
Sure.
I want to give that opportunity to the audience first.
Sure. Definitely. Yes. Definitely.
Okay. See, we have faculty and we also have someone from non-faculty backgrounds.
Sure.
Or rather, I would say they're not from technology background.
Sure.
So, like for example, there is one person here who is a degree college, faculty, and that is a commerce background.
Yes.
And there is a social worker from Rotary.
Yes.
So, how this makes sense to them, and how they would be able to leverage these collaborations?
Okay. Yes. So it is very clear. I would say, my father has studied 11th in 1970. So you can imagine his academic qualification. But he keeps talking about a lot of ideas, and he keeps asking, why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? This should be possible. So what actually he means always is, there are a lot of problems existing in or around, and he's just a small businessman. He runs a shop and he feeds his family, nothing beyond that. So what I'm trying to tell is, irrespective of our profession, irrespective of our nature of work we do, everybody comes across a problem. And if you can find that problem out, and then go to the technical people around you, because I can emphatically say, every village will have one engineer, or two engineer, or multiple engineers, because every household is producing one engineer. And you can go and talk to the fresher engineer, or anybody experienced or fresher. They can take them to the nearby professor or somebody. First, try to capture the problem, then how the problem can be solved, because a problem can be solved in many ways. And if one such way you can innovate, and that problem can be automated, or either a hardware problem or a software solution is required, then you can frame the problem into a proposal. Once the proposal is ready, it can be submitted to nearest incubation center. In India, I'm not a government official to promote about government, or promote about particularly this India government, but I am as an entrepreneur, I'm observing that this government is a little more proactive, and to establish lots of centers. I'll say Auto Innovation Center, say TBI Technology Business Incubators, our even private institutions are also establishing. KIIT is a private incubation center. When I was applying for BIRAC, I got incubated there for 1 year. And even today I am getting virtually incubated. By sitting in Chennai, I am still getting incubated, because I'll be applying it again. So to answer your question, you frame your problem, you write a basic proposal with the solution, then get it reviewed by nearby professors available, or nearby technical people available, and then you can take it to an incubation center and have minimum funding, as minimum as possible, so that somebody will be able to fund it out. And once the funding is done, I would always, my personal experience, not more than 1 lakh is required to solve any problem in the world. At least to have its basic proof of concept. Because if you are developing any instrument, that instrument is already available. You just need to build a miniature version of that instrument. So that, say 1 lakh is just a number. It could be sometimes 10,000. It could be sometimes 1.25. I'm just telling a number. So that much money, either you should able to do it, or the incubation center should be able to raise it to prove a concept, which is what Tamil Nadu government has created. One of our own employee, he was working with me earlier, and he just told me Tamil Nadu government has a concept called innovation voucher. What is innovation voucher? You just propose a solution and you take only 2 lakhs rupees. This is just given to you just to ensure that whether what you are talking you will be able to prove or not. The 2 lakhs rupees will be given, and there is no binding. If you fail, you fail. Absolutely nobody is going to tell you anything. There is absolutely nothing. So any business person can take this opportunity and collaborate with people to do that.
That was really wonderful, because 2 lakhs is
Yes.
something, not a very small amount.
Yes.
In fact,
And
Tamil Nadu has been doing for a long time. Earlier also, when I was doing postdoc in Coimbatore,
yes,
Tamil Nadu government used to give 20,000 rupees per MSc candidate.
exactly.
Just to do internship, just
Exactly.
to engage them.
Yes.
And even
Yes.
I think BIRAC is also, Department of Biotechnology
Yes.
is doing that. For
Exactly.
undergraduate students, it's 7,500 rupees per month.
Exactly.
And for MSc student, 30,000 rupees per month.
Yes.
And post PhD, 50,000 per month.
Correct.
Just to keep your entrepreneurial mindset, that's all.
Correct.
Not expecting any outcome from you.
Correct.
Just to stay the way you are. That's no. I mean,
Exactly.
it means that the idea creation has such a potential, I believe.
Correct. Yeah, just like don't like dare to attempt, and don't get scared of failure. Attempt at others' money. Others' money means government's money, so that there is no binding. Nobody is offending you. Nobody is telling that why did you spend and you got nothing. No, I tried, and just to try you are being funded.
So, but here I have 1 or 2 questions to ask. Now, when you're saying collaboration, that's actually supposed to be multiplier benefit collaboration. But here, at least in my personally, I was in Vijnana and I'm here. The majority of some faculty or even many students, they think that if I share my idea, somebody can hijack it. Have you come across that kind of mindset, or it's only in small colleges, or IITs also have that kind of thing? How do you overcome it?
Yes, the very great question. Very often we come across this. Let me answer you one straight thing. I'll answer you. We live in a country where 130 crore people are there, and any idea we actually replicate. I think we need 10 such similar ideas to replicate. 10 white, 10 will be falling short actually. So there is nothing to fear about idea, because even if you do your product and you take it to market, still you will have a lot more potential to solve, because India is a very vast country. India, if you're only considering India, if you're considering globe, then it is better. And there is nothing like one product you tell me whose opposite or whose other market players are not there. If you see Ola, there is Uber. If you see Zomato, there is Swiggy. If you see Uber Eats or whatever. If you see even hardware also, if you see there is any company, doesn't matter. So sharing the idea, yes, you need to protect your idea, definitely, absolutely fine. But first thing, let me tell you, in India, most of the ideas are not actually patentable. Let us be very clear about it. Purely because when an idea comes into picture, what we do Google searching, and we do in the Google we find that this person has implemented like this, and I will implement also like this. Once we copy an idea, that idea is not at all innovative. Suppose we are not copying somebody's idea and it is our own idea, then the first thing we should do is we should file a provisional patent, and that is what we at least I do. And we should file a provisional patent, and provisional patent doesn't cost more than 30,000 rupees, even including your attorney fee. If you can yourself file also, it will be less than that. Suppose you don't know how to file, you can reach out to attorneys. And again, the beauty of being the part of any incubation center is every incubation center has now their own IP cell, intellectual property cell, and you can just go and meet the incubation center property cell, and then you can do a provisional filing. Provisional filing cost around maximum 30,000 rupees, and with that you will be able to do a prior research. Once your prior research tells that your idea is patentable, then you can go for a filing, and then you have a period of 18 months or 11 months till your patent get into a full-blown claim. So that is what I would request. And another thing I would request, if your idea is good enough, then you implement it out, you keep discussing with multiple people, absolutely fine, because there is nothing like idea can be stolen. If you are having a good business value, if your business value is good, then you have a market presence. Then, because converting somebody into last as a usable product, it's a long time. It is not like today I thought and tomorrow it will happen. It will take at least 1 year time or 2 years time. So your competitor might not have that much patience, and who is listening, and people might have money. Yes, you should not tell the idea to big people. If you tell an idea, a small idea to a bigger people, they will immediately implement if they find, because they have more money, they have more people. But you can definitely discuss among your teachers, because teachers are, by nature, they're the noble profession. They won't do this kind of cheap tricks. That is what I would prefer to do.
No, see, it's somewhere as you're speaking, I remember Steve Jobs thing, because in Steve Jobs was a more of a designer than a more of aesthetic guy rather than is a tech guy. I don't see Steve Jobs doing any tech work in Apple, but Apple's place is, so his imagination has driven the tech.
Exactly.
And not the tech has driven the imagination.
Exactly.
So for imagination, you don't need to be a tech guy.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need. That's what I'm telling. If you have found a problem and you are sure that that problem has to be solved in a particular way, then you are actually executing. Then you are CEO of the company. Then CTO, who will be doing technically how they will be solving, it is their responsibility. You give the responsibility to technical people. Then you tell him, this is what I want, and if I want this, and then what it takes to do this, let other people come in, and that's where the collaboration starts actually. So for example, an electronics engineer will not know much of mechanical things. He can only tell this dimension I want, this much height, this much width, this much, it has to be circular, it has to be ellipse, or it has to be some mechanical shape and size, and it has to be lightweight, it has to be metallic or non-metallic. These are the requirements he can give. Then the mechanical engineer will come into the work. So that is where multidisciplinary things are very mandatory, very much mandatory. Every one person cannot do. So if somebody has imagination and idea, then other people have to do the implementation work, and then they come together. And I feel a lot of times, I don't know for this question or not, in general, let me answer. In our country, doctors don't have any idea what engineering system is capable of. Always doctors think our engineering system is sleeping, and we engineers think that doctors are doing their job, we should not disturb them. That is one perfect mismatch. We can tap into that. That is the same thing that happens with biology people. Biology people always think our area is something nothing to do with the engineering. Of course, biotechnology is nothing but an engineering subject rather than pure science. So which is evolving about devices, about testing, or about monitoring devices, or controlling certain parameter, or DNA analysis, or what not. A lot of biochemistry equipments are also coming, right? So that is where, because biology people have to interact with electronics or mechanical people to make things happen. That is where what you call is, in advanced language, they call it biomimicry. What is biomimicry? You learn something from biology and then implement in system.
Something called bio design.
Yes.
They design architecture based on the imitation of the biological life.
Yes. Yes.
Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful answer. And there was one point, I would say, how much time would it take for, say, let me take your own example of ECG. Like, what were the different steps you had to, undergo, like idea stage to the market stage? How different people would have helped you? I mean, it's basically ecosystem at different levels. Can you illustrate your own device, like, sort of thing?
Yes. Okay. What actually happened is, we just wanted to do a do a project which is medically which can help medical fraternity, more kind of patients and doctors. So when we met cardiology department professor in Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, or more than Institute of Higher Learning, it is actually Higher Medical Sciences. So what they suggested is, we are doing daily 5 operations. That is where the concept of device came into picture. And once we release a patient to home, we would like to monitor them. So it is a pure case of remote monitoring, and remote monitoring of a cardiac patient is nothing but ECG. So that is where we did a survey. We did an initial survey. That is where our idea started. And we found that in market, those devices are available, which are either bulky or costly. So typically Holters, earlier Holters were used, and Holter will be able to record your ECG and then take it to a lab. In that lab, through USB, they will transfer the data. And it was more kind of manual and mechanical activity. And that is where we did you can think our product like a Holter, but with a wireless option, so the data streaming can happen from the device to the mobile application, to again from mobile application to the server, so that the end-to-end spectrum is covered. Once we did our survey, we found that okay, cost is a factor, size of the device is a factor, and then those kind of products are also few other people were doing. Like that's what I was telling. Like 130 crore country, it is not like one device should be there. There be a number of devices can be there, because a lot of patients are also increasing. Stress is increasing, diabetes is increasing, and hence the cardiac diseases are also increasing. So coming back to the next round, what we did a something called conjoint analysis. Conjoint analysis is nothing but conjoint analysis is a subject matter of new product development, NPD. And under NPD, before doing product requirement document, we have to do a conjoint analysis. A conjoint analysis will give you who all are players available in the market, what are their features, and you do a simple tabulation or simple analysis. It is nothing but like competitive analysis or comparative analysis. Out of the comparative analysis, we have to create a product requirement document. There is a technical document that will tell how to make this product more compact, how to make this product more powerful in computing, or how to make it easily usability. Once that is done, then we have to write the product requirement document. Product requirement document, more kind of design requirement document, what kind of processors required, what kind of circuitry is required, and more kind of building the hardware. And before building hardware, we also didn't build hardware directly. We bought a development kit. Again, we bought this development kit. Of course, we are thankful to one of our guide from America. He gifted this development kit, cost around $200 for ECG. And he gifted this to our department. And when he gifted, we used it. We got to know how to use a development kit. Then we kind of took the development kit as a reference design, and then started building our product. And of course, finally, we could reduce our size almost to a 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter. Of course, the third revision was only giving 3.3. Ultimately, we started with 5 by 5, then 4 by 4, and then we come. So that is the step we took. And in between, we went to the doctors back again, and we demonstrated them and told like, this is a device we have done. And they were very happy to accept us, saying that, okay, now you can do this. You go and next time you do work on this particular algorithm, this particular software, and show us the data which is compatible with GE machine or not. Because GE is taken as a gold standard in ECG, and they do calibration in their lab also using GE machine. So that was a challenge thrown at us. And then we again worked on the algorithm. We tried making it as close as GE. When we took the 30 patients data as a preclinical trial in super specialty hospital and general hospital, then our data was pretty much matching with GE hospital data. So you have to work always hand in hand with the end user, either a doctor or a patient. A patient cannot interpret the ECG, so there is no point in directly talking to patient at this point of time, but we can talk to the cardiologist, and then they got the feedback. So interaction with your end user or the expert, I would say, is always easy. At least if not regularly, monthly once, we can take the feedback and then work upon it. When you are going to a feedback, you better go with some update, and you demonstrate the update. You tell them this is what I'm looking at, and they will also suggest, okay, this is what can solve your problem. And anytime we got stuck in the whole process, we could reach out to some seniors in industry. We could get their feedback also. So those who have already worked in GE Healthcare or Siemens Healthcare, and that is also another added advantage. Then our own professors could help us in signal processing. And then because ECG is nothing but all about biosignal processing, taking the signal from the human body, human chest. So that is where ultimately we could arrive. So collaboration is everywhere. And what I am talking, I know other companies have spent 1 crore to reach out to a stage where we have reached by spending only 10 lakhs rupees. So you can imagine 10 times of the cost we have saved. And this is practically the number of figure which is coming from the finance and accounts that I'm not talking. So these numbers are really true numbers. So if you can collaborate, you can save that much of number, because one of our competitor company has recruited 2 cardiosurgeons on board. When you recruit a cardiosurgeon on board and you keep paying them, your cost of development increases. And not only cardiosurgeon, they have a big team. They have a 6-7 member team, whereas in our case, always 2 to 3 members were working. 1 for application, 1 for hardware, 1 for software. I myself was working on hardware. So we could save a lot of cost. We could put our own mind, we could put our own brain involve and develop. That is where I would say to make the cost of development low. If your cost of development is low, even on longer run, you can compete in a better way, in an efficient way.
So you mean to say that if you work in silos and thinking that others can steal and all, you might have to recruit every damn thing and every resource and hike the price, and the pricing gets reflected on the final product.
Correct.
Definitely, right? You have to recover it. When you're looking at a solution with a lower cost and bottom of the pyramid people have to reach,
Correct.
then I think collaboration would be the best way, so that a lot of your investment can be diverted towards core R&D.
Exactly.
Very good. So now you said you have only 2 to 3 people who are working on this, right?
Yes.
But you might be needing a lot of expertise in different sectors, because yours is interdisciplinary.
Exactly.
So how do you get, yours is a tech and there could be another tech or non-tech startups. Now how do they leverage these resources? One is a collaboration is fine, but that is with academia. But everybody will not be in touch with academia. Like for example, NGOs are there, like the WWF, World Wildlife Fund. They are nowhere connected to academia. In foreign countries, WWFs will have their own professors' chairs.
Correct.
But in India, you don't have such concept.
Correct.
If there is a corporate company, they may give a chair in a university, like the professor will be doing. But in India, you don't have such concept. But how do you do that for such people? For such NGOs, such people?
Yes, that is where you find. I would suggest, if an NGO, even if it is the remote village of the India, anywhere is there, let them find out who is the engineering student in or around. That engineering student will behave as a bridge between the NGO and the academic institutions. Because the engineering student, after studying 4 years, at least he will know 5 to 10 professors in 5 departments. Let him be the technical liaising officer or technical liaising person between the professor, because that is where the bridge has to be developed. Because say, I'll give an example. My father can never reach out to any engineering professor, because neither he is an engineer nor he knows anybody, and our hometown doesn't have any engineering college. As simple as that. But if he really wants to get a solution, he can ask me and I can get on behalf of him to him, saying that okay, this is what the solution is all about. So that is where your nearby student, who is either your neighborhood student or in your village or in your wherever, because an NGO is nothing but doing the work on the field, right? So they will know at least somebody who can give, and that person has to come to the college and start talking to the professors, start writing the problems. Any level of support is required. That is where everything can be evolved. So that is what one thing. And the second thing I would say, our engineering strength is ridiculously high. We are a country, we are producing almost 10 lakhs engineer every year, and that is our AICTE number. A diploma and a degree altogether 10 lakh. So if you are producing 10 lakh engineer every year, then in or around you should find engineers. And if you are finding engineers, then you should find engineering colleges, because engineers are produced out of engineering colleges. So then you have to reach out to them. Then you can start collaborating. And the time is changing. Today, I'm pretty sure AICTE is not evaluating just based on your number of papers you published or number of hours you took class or how many theory you taught or how many labs you took. People are also evaluating based on, I'm talking directly about NIRF ranking, right? So the institutional ranking framework, whatever NIRF ranking, they are expecting what are you producing? What is the end of the day? What problem you are solving? If you are not solving a problem, then your ranking of the institute also goes down. So director of any engineering college or principal of any engineering college also must be aware that in coming days, or it is already started, there is a big competition between IIT Madras and Anna University. Right here, I am observing that every day. So there is a big competition, because IIT Madras is number 1, Anna University is number 7 or number 8. So they are always competing. One is central funded institute, one is state funded institute, but still both are old institutes. One has crossed already 100 plus years, one is 50 plus years, but still they are competing each other. They are competing they're also collaborating. There is not only competing, they're collaborating also. They're also collaborating. So if 2 institutes can collaborate, then NGO and another institute also can collaborate. So it's all about reaching out to them. If you cannot reach out, if you're hungry and you cannot reach out to people, then I don't think others can know that even you are hungry. So you have to open up, you have to keep shouting, you have to keep reaching out. And my personal formula is always, I go by 90-10. If I want one solution, then I need to reach out to 10 people. And out of the 10 people, one only will come. 5 of them, 6 of them will never come back to you. 2 of them will come back and then they will help, but they will not help. and one among them will actually help. So if you are really reaching out to 100 people, then out of that 5 people can actually help you out. So you need to enhance your reachability. You need to talk to people, you need to tell them, you need to articulate the problem also, and you cannot kill people's time. Somebody is busy, they won't listen to your problem. So what you need to do, you need to write it out very clearly, either in a form of a block diagram or form of a five steps. This is the problem. Or you take an example and tell them this is existing and this is not existing, I want to create like this or something. If you can articulate and present, then others will actually help. And in others help, getting others help also, you have to be very sure that 90% of the people will reject you and 10% of the people will accept you. So with that formula, we need to move.
Okay, before I leave you, to the audience, just one more question. See, IITs and Anna universities are fine. Like, they have got that, they're in capitals, and what I mean. They can leverage. They can leverage all the political or what kind of support they want to get the funds. But how about the small tier 3? You have seen Anantapur, you have seen my center, right? How these people can leverage this? I don't think every incubation center.
Anantapur is quite advanced. I will talk about a place called Parlakamudi.
I know Parlakamudi. I've been there.
Yes. So because I taught there, I was there for 2 years. Then again little deeper, if you go, there is a place called Gunupur. There is a Gandhi Institute is there. See, they are deeper places. They are deeper, really remote areas with more kind of tribal areas. Right, and including Koraput. Koraput is one of the poorest district in the country. Everybody knows it. It is published as a KBK. So Koraput, Balangir, and Kalahandi. These 3 districts are poorest district in the country. But all 3 districts are having one engineering colleges, and they are accessing Parlakamudi or Barampur or Gunpur. So what I'm trying to tell is, all I'm trying to tell is, and every institution will have a small lab, a basic electronics lab, a basic mechanical lab, mechanical material testing lab, or small labs, right? The solution can be built out of that also, because what was not possible earlier with 8051, today with Arduino and Raspberry Pi, that is possible. You tell me a sensor, by sitting in any remote places, you can place an order and the sensor will be delivered to you at your doorstep without even stepping out of your home. That is possible. So what I'm trying to tell is, everything is possible if you can reach out and you can find a solution and try to build something on your own. And that is purely available because of the internet connectivity, purely available the online shopping system, or available because of the ecosystem that has been built out. So you don't need to be an IITian to build a product. You all that you need to be is whether you have an attitude or aptitude to build a product or not. And if that much is there, today there is absolutely nothing. And I came to know in Kerala, high school people are having a Raspberry Pi in their labs. Every school has been given a Raspberry Pi. It's interesting, having a Raspberry Pi at the high school. I learned, and my father sent me to a high school which is far away from our home, only because that high school had a computer, not a typing machine. So because everybody that time were learning typist, they were learning type, and my father sent me by paying 25 rupee per month just to learn. In 1997, 98, I started touching computer, where my friends didn't know even how a computer looks like. So and our lab used to have only 4 people. All 4 are computer mentality people. What do you call, like, they want to learn what is computer. So but today every school will have a computer, at least if not a computer, every home has a smartphone. So a smartphone is quite capable. Nowadays smartphones are really capable. So there is nothing, the technology gap is actually bridged. Only we need to do is we need to promptly work.
Exactly. I think, since you mentioned Gunpur, next cohort we are having on startup from Gunpur.
Oh, excellent.
She's a girl, agriculture girl.
Yes.
And she's working on some insects that can eat plastic.
Yes.
That was like amazing. I don't know how these kids approached me.
Yes.
Just to second year, I believe. Now second year, when they put up this idea to me, they are just first year. They entered agriculture.
No, they grew in an environment where they are seeing a lot of tribal people exploring a lot of things. See, and tribal people are very any disease won't happen to them any in a small way. Our immune systems are very poor, but their immune systems are very good. Even if somebody does a blood analysis of tribal people, a lot more science can come out of that. And they live there. They live there. They grow there. Once they grow there, they understand what will be the situation. So I remember in JITM in Parliament itself, one boy came back with a concept of how to create a device which can detect bombs, because that is also what you call Naxalite area. Then I realized that he's using the same technology what DRDO is also using. He's just borrowing the technology and he presented it. I loved the idea. I told him, and he's very openly telling, sir, at least in India, Odisha police can use it because nearby we don't know when our vehicle is going on what. So those kind of things, right? So it comes from practical experiences, it comes from practical challenges and daily life learnings.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. Audience, please, if you have any questions or you want to ask something, clarify something, please do so. He's available. Because I think our interaction started somewhere 2000 when Vignan 2016.
Yes.
So I've been seeing him now. I hope your new company. Now he has been doing a lot of COVID-related activities also. Yeah, that point that I want to ask. See, you are into something embedded systems and all, but a new challenge has come up. So how easy or how difficult is that for you to adapt to a new changing situation, and how do you pivot your whole resources towards which is like season? I would say this is a medical device season. I should say.
Correct. Even without COVID, we used to work on a lot of medical electronics for our clients. So almost like few of my clients are actually medical electronics clients. Right. So we work for them, and because we work for them, we know a couple of doctors. And one of my recent venture is with a doctor from Hyderabad. He has lots of experience on women health, and he's a 20 years experienced doctor, and he wanted to design a hardware. And that is where we collaborated and started a company. So, and again, he has already worked with the WHO, he has already worked with UNICEF and John Hopkins, like big international organizations. So he brings his expertise, and then I bring my expertise, and then we sit together and we work. Now, very recently, I'm working with another urologist to develop a urine testing machine. So these are the problems will only come only when we talk to them, or only when we see something and then circle back with them, asking them, if I design such device, do you think any value is there or not? So that is one thing. And apart from that, because of COVID, ultimately it is pushing us to think more. It is,
exactly.
It is definitely pushing us, because we need to think about telemedicine, we need to think about remote care, we need to think about more and more usable self-help medical devices. So it's a time to think, and I'm pretty sure everybody can start thinking and come back with a solution better than what is existing.
Wonderful.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it's a wonderful thing you said that any innovation can take place within the budget of 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. That's a wonderful thing.
Yes, sir.
But I am giving a stupid idea to you. I am placing before you. Just give a reflection on that, sir, please.
Sure.
See, right now we are facing the COVID hard times. See, even for the cosmetics, the Fair and Lovely, like that, some cosmetics will protect us from the typical sunlight and darkening of the face, right?
Correct, sir.
Like that, why don't we create a gel which can be applied on the face, so that we can protect ourselves from the viruses like COVID and all that? So please elaborate on this idea, please. Thank you.
Sir, see, I'm not a biologist to talk on this, but briefly, I will tell the virus enters through the nose, right? So the nasal passage has to be blocked. That is first thing. If it is entering through skin, which is what UV ray enters through the skin, and that's where your UV ray has to be protected through a layer of chemical, which is, you call it as a sun lotion or sun guard or something like that, right? So because the air passage has to be blocked, we need to think about some nasal filters. I remember 1 year back, 2 year back, I met the founder also in one of the competition from IIT Delhi.
Small one, right?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
IIT Delhi, because they were building in Delhi, the
Pollution.
what you call, pollution is very heavy. They built a very small nasal filter, and that filter was filtering. So of course, my mask that you are seeing now, my mask is nothing but a kind of nasal filter. The only thing is I have ears to put, or somebody has bent it accordingly. So to answer your question, sir, people are actually thinking a lot about making smart filters or smart masks. People are last week I met a person, he was thinking very similar way, how to reduce the size of this thing so that it doesn't look bulky, and kind of a sticker, just put it out, so you know you can still freely talk around. Because I'm now putting my earphone, I removed my mask, and of course in my room nobody is sitting, so I'm comfortably talking without a mask. So to answer your question, anything is possible if you can find out, like in this particular case, in this particular example, the nasal air pathway, right, that is bigger, that is unlike your skin passage. So we need to think accordingly. And if you can think something, these are 3D printers are available. 3D printing of anything will take you 1,000 rupees only.
Yes.
If you can have a design, and designers are also available. You can think like any idea, you can draw in your pen and paper, just a pen and paper scale pencil you draw, then give it to a 3D printer person. A mechanical person, an AutoCAD or Autodesk or SolidWorks. 3D modeling softwares are there. Mechanical students are very much well aware of that. They can create a 3D model in 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours time. Then in 2 to 3 days time, you will be able to have a product ready. If you collaborate with somebody who has a 3D printer, and everywhere now 3D printers are available. Every labs are having now 3D printers. Then you can start working there. You give a prototype, you give a demo to somebody, and then ask, why don't you spend little more money? I'll give you 10 more numbers. Or why don't you spend little more money? I can make it a little more aesthetically good. Those are the things are possible.
Sir, I can give you 2 to 3 pointers to you. I have shared a link here, Cerelia Nutritech. So these are all like, again, by the way, Satya, he's also from KIT Bhubaneswar. His name is Kiran. He exited much before you. Now they're in IIT Delhi. So the same example what you have given, sir, but they, rather than repelling a virus, they have developed a face cream or body cream where you can deliver vitamins, metals, proteins. Like Indian women and African women are especially anemic. One is because they don't get protein to build the hemoglobin. Second thing is the iron content in the hemoglobin is also not available for them, many of them. So in government hospitals, if you see public health center, they'll give Lalgoli, red tablets, iron folate. Iron folate, that's what they give. Folic acid and iron, these 2 things are very important for women, menstruating women and pregnant women, or even feeding mother. So when you take a Lalgoli or anything, suppose you take 1000 mg, 1 gram of iron per day, iron ferrous sulfate or ferrous folate, 800 mg or 700 mg only you'll get it. Remaining 300 mg you'll not get it, because bioavailability is something. Means whatever medicine you eat, only 60-70% only your body will get. The rest you won't get it if you eat. But skin is the one place which is the largest organ on the body. So these guys have a patented technology where you can deliver folic acid, vitamins, iron, calcium, zinc, name any damn mineral, they can to the skin.
Wonderful.
They can
Wonderful, sir.
to the skin. I shared the link here. He is a Telugu person only. I think your area only. His name is Kiran. Okay. So you can talk to him in Telugu. You can understand his technology. So as you are imagining, sir, there are things are available. So tomorrow, I really don't know if somebody comes with your idea of repelling virus.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So that's one thing. Okay. Yes. Right. And second point, sir, for people like Satya and other who have got access to incubation centers, innovation centers, or like me, who are incubation managers, are aware of this funding mechanisms and all. But for individual farmer or individual housewife, suppose some housewife has developed some chapati making machine, some variety, a crazy chapati machine which can make 100 chapatis per minute, we don't even know, or fafda making machine, so anything, and she wants to patent, and there is called National Innovation Foundation. Okay, this is led by, I think, Junjunwala, or
Yes.
I don't know who is the lady. It's mainly for unorganized and illiterate, or those who do not have formal education qualification. They can also patent in this country, sir.
Okay.
0 rupee. You don't have to pay any rupee. And I can recall there was a person in Rajasthan who has developed a carrot which can grow 1 meter long. 1 meter long carrot. She has done breeding. Family, they learned the breeding conventional breeding methodology, and she has patented that seed, sir. And you don't get those seeds anywhere in the world. You have to ask her.
Correct.
So from a school children to illiterate to any graduate, postgraduate, anybody can access to a technology now and patent a technology in this country. So that much is what government is going. They're out of their comfort zone. Actually, it's not a government's job to do all these innovations. It is a private people and individuals, citizens should do. Government should rather take care of security and other important issues. But they're coming to this level and helping us. So it's very imperative that people have to leverage this. So yes, any other people, we have professors from different universities here. You can unmute your mic and speak. No other questions? So Satya, would you like to make some closing remarks?
Yes. Typically, I would request all the teachers or all the professors, or even those who are not from academic institutions, just to explore everything possible. As I told, 90-10 rule. Like if you reach out to 10 people, one person can come back, and 9 people will not come back. Don't worry about that 9. Focus on that 1. Similarly, on the idea, I would request everybody to keep thinking about idea. I always keep talking, right? All of us are using WhatsApp, all of us are using Facebook, but our parents have never asked us why that WhatsApp that other engineer from other country has made and you are using. Why not you are studying computer science and you are making? So those are the probing questions nobody asked at our home. And we use pretty much what exactly you call by Swadeshi. It's not a political term, but I'm just talking in a technical term. So because including this interaction that is happening with the Zoom, right? So people can develop those kind of softwares or even hardware. So most of the cases, our dependencies can be reduced if we can start thinking some Indian ways to mitigate the problem. Maybe if you think 10 things, 9 will fail, and don't worry about the 9 failures. You can focus on the one success. If that one success succeeds, you are at least settled, or at least you will see the new thing happening, and you will able to feel the satisfaction. Yes, I tried something. Yeah, I failed in 9 things. I failed in 1 thing. And more than anything else, I would request is any innovation takes time. It is not like today we thought means tomorrow it will happen. It takes lots of patience. It takes lots of persistence, perseverance to follow things. I'm just 3 years into innovation, but I have seen my ex-founder, who is also 15 years into entrepreneurship. So I have seen him succeeding. I have seen him struggling, and I've learned a lot from him. So similarly, people are in this COVID time, I'm seeing many people are shutting down their office also, because they're not able to pay to their employees. They're not able to sustain. But what I would rather look at is this is a new challenge that has come, and if we can collaborate with more and more people, as you all might be knowing, there is a case for Lijjat Papad. It is a group of ladies creating huge amount of success. It's all about Amul. It's a $1 billion industry today. It's all about group formation. It's all about all together coming towards doing something. And then there are Indian ways to do things, and even non-technical people can contribute a lot. I was talking about one of the product about remote monitoring. Suddenly my father told, why are you looking for patients? You can go to schools and colleges, you start monitoring them. after 12th, they become grown-ups. When you start measuring adult, because adulthood is the place where the disease comes, and the adulthood is the place where the lifestyle changes. People start smoking, people start drinking, people start taking different these things, because the age effect is there. And if you are developing a healthcare product for their lifestyle development, then go and interact with them. And every college will give you thousands of students. You take their blood and test it and do whatever you want to do. You take their heart rate and test it and do whatever you want to do. So you have a patient ready, you need to only think. So this is an idea just my father could give. And because I was talking, where do I test my device? So I need lots of data. And then he told, yeah, data is available in the colleges. You go and do a camp. In a camp, because you are young, people will love you, people will just come and interact with you. They will stand in the queue to take testing in your device. You don't need to go to every hospital. And that is your idea can come from anybody. It is not necessarily it has to come from technical people. So once the idea is coming, then you can execute it out. You can reach out to people and collaborate. There's nobody's hiding. You tell me an idea, I'll able to tell, like nasal filter, sir was asking, right? Nasal filter is already there. There's nothing. And if you are creating a chemical equipment or chemical element, then you deserve a much more research oriented award. Maybe you have done adequate research to find a new chemical, then that is patentable. That is that protection is really required. And then because you have done a lot more research, you must be knowing how to write a proposal to DBT, DST, DSIR or CSIR. You might even collaborate with somebody in IITs to get your chemical synthesis or characterized through TEM, through SEM, through multiple electron microscopes and all, right? So collaboration is the key. You need to collaborate. There is nobody is taking up your idea, and even if somebody takes, you will be much more smarter not to share next time. And even if your first failure happens, you will know that failure will teach you something, and then you can share that failure with others, and you can go and build better things. That is what I would request.
Sure. Oh, that was a very powerful and very insightful session. Thank you, Satya, for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So, dear participants, I just before we leave for the day, I have something else to share with you. Just a minute. Okay. Sir, you were asking about that product, no? So, so here is the. Can you see? You guys can see this?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right. So tracking maternal malnutrition through frugal innovation. Okay. So these are all data. Okay. This is a problem statement they gave. And in fact, if you see their solution, so basically within 15 minutes, the molecule enters your blood. Okay. It doesn't go into your stomach or gut or intestine, nothing. Directly enters into your blood. Blood is the one thing that you need to deliver anything. Blood delivers to the respective organs. So this is the chemical base. Okay, this is the base they have used. So you put zinc into this, it will deliver the zinc. If you put iron, it will deliver the iron. If you put vitamins, it will deliver the vitamins. And they got best innovation award for the year. So this guy, he is from your place only, Kiran Vipula. Okay, so he is one of the inventor. So there is a website and you can take a phone number and talk to him. Right. So, and another thing I would like to show here is, right. So, how many of you know this guy he's from Karnataka? Anybody can guess who is he? He's a Dr. Vishal Rao. Okay, he's an oncosurgeon. And can you guess what is this device? There is something small plastic thing in his hand. So, okay, so this is a device, it's a vocal cord, artificial vocal cord made up of plastic, silicone. And this is normally inserted in the cancer patients after cancer, especially throat cancer. It's what is this called? Larynx, the voice box has to be removed. So you'll not be able to speak for your life. So instead of in that voice box, they keep this artificial voice box, which is 50,000 rupees. Okay. So it's basically plastic. It's very costly. So what this guy did, he did not do that. He developed a device of the same thing for 50 rupees. Okay, there is a story. You can search in internet. This is called Vishal Rao. His name is Vishal Rao. Doctor. You just give Google search. Lot of
quality, sir.
Sorry.
Is it the same quality of material?
Yes. Material is different. Quality is same. It has even cleared the FDA and all the approvals. They have what is that called? Inserted into the patients, and they have monitored the patient for 5 years to see if there is a bacterial infection or any other side effects. So after all those trials, they found it. And how did they find? Okay, that's your answer.
That's what 50,000 and 50 rupees.
That's
there
what
should be some material difference, no?
Material is entirely different. See, there it is a 3D printed device. That is a 3D printed, okay, plastic. But what this guy has done is, you need to understand the background of what he has done. He is basically from Karnataka. So he travels very frequently between Bangalore and Mysore. So between Bangalore and Mysore, there is a place called Chennapatna. How many of you know Chennapatna?
I know.
Yes, it's known for soft toys, right? Toys, especially the wonderful toys. And the wood is a soft wood. Once you make anything out of that wood and you leave it to the air, it becomes hard, or light and hard. Okay. So he saw one person was doing something like, that flute, small flute, PP. So this person was doing PP. Such a small hole has to be inserted in that, and he was doing with his machine. So Vishal Rao saw this. Then he quickly, just casually asked. He did not show this machine to him, this device. He asked to see, this is a toy, and can you do this for me? What is there in this? In Kannada, you would have told something. It's a child's play for me. Okay, why don't you do it? So he did it, and they did the simulation models, and they did the bio studies, like if any bacteria grows on this, or it's going to give some allergy. All those tests they had to do it. 3-4 years they took time. Okay, so once they found that this is par with plastic, par with this polypropylene. Okay. So they took the patient consent. There was only, actually there is a video also in TED and in YouTube. So there is this woman, lady, who gives consent, permission that you can insert this device and experiment in my body. Anyway, I have lost my voice. So what difference it makes for me? If it comes. If it doesn't come, still I am a dumb. Like, sorry to use that word, but I cannot speak anyway. So that was the first success story. So inserted and she's able to speak. The par with this device.
That video is there with you?
This is there. See, here only I can play if you want, like 3 minutes video, and there are so many videos.
Well, it's strange to know that we don't speak through our throats. We speak through our brain. The brain is the one that modulates speech. The brain is the one that coordinates speech. It is the one that creates sounds together and then instructs the rest of the parts, like the throat, the voice box, to actually vibrate in a particular way so that sound is generated.
They reduce the volume.
I always thought speech and communication are not only a basic tenet that sustains life force, but also a right to freedom, to dignity, to justice, and a right to peace. Currently, the prostheses which are available are costing anywhere between 20 to 45,000. We've made a very simple device at just ₹50, less than $1. So we worked for about 2 years with physicists, engineers, material experts. At the end of 2 years, we came up with this device that actually helps patients speak after they have lost their voice box. Do you feel happy that you're able to speak now?
Yeah, because at one point of time I thought I'll never improve.
Do you feel hopeful?
Not when I come to him, after I meet him and go. I feel very hopeful, I feel very happy. Just look at him.
Yeah. I'm one of his success stories. He's one of my success stories. So we both share a story here. This is a very basic principles of physics that wherever through which air passes, if there is an obstruction, it creates sound. For example, I'm blowing, if there's no obstruction, there's no sound. Whereas if there's obstruction, there will be sound. So through this prosthesis, air is sent from the lung into the food pipe, and the food pipe vibrates and behaves like a normal voice box and cheats the brain, and the brain gives instructions to the food pipe to speak again.
ओ साहबे डालने का पैसा डालने का वाला डालने को 50 है 50,000 नहीं 70 हमारा लोग आदमी को साहब वो निकाले डालने का पैसा आदमी बहुत है बेंगलोर में उन्हें डाले हमारे सारा आदमी गरीब आदमी को साहब हो सके 50 रुपए का
The point in science is that science should not only remain a hope for the future. It should serve the present, it should serve the needy, and it should become accessible. Only then will science become complete.
Oh, lovely.
Huh?
Very nice.
Yeah, actually, what the video here it is, it's actually the upgraded version. But if you see the original videos, there are many. Maybe I'll download and share some point of time. The original one that Chennapatna I told you, no, that one I'll show you. That was their first invention. But later they again shifted to silicone because silicone you can do many times. Like I don't know, the weight is also an issue. 1 gram. It's just 50 rupees. You are getting your voice back. This is what innovation is all about. And he's a doctor. He's not a material scientist, right? And so in fact I had met him 3 months back during COVID time. Personally I met him because he was a task force member for COVID in Karnataka, and I was also one of the advisor for that one company. So both were advisors for one single company, and then I met him. I did not realize he's Vishal Rao. Then later point time, when I took his selfie, I thought, okay, he should be the guy. Then I searched the internet and I got these videos. So so that's how, madam, to all the participants, we don't know where is the next innovation among your students. So with that note, we close the session today. So if you have anything to share, you can do so. And yeah, so tomorrow we'll be talking. I'm inviting actually Satya was my junior. So tomorrow I will be bringing Vikas Bagri. He was working with earlier government, Manmohan Singh government. He was advisor to Prime Minister's office on innovations. So he'll be talking about policy, how government policies would influence innovations, and how innovations would influence governments. Okay, so you all know, right, how Facebook is allegedly involved in biasing in both US elections and Indian elections. We don't know, but technology has that power. So he'll be talking about that tomorrow.